workshop. I taught one of those last Sunday here in St. Martin at the studio. Our class is binds and arm balances. So I am gonna have an inversion practice for you guys a little bit later. But let's work on the arm balance, pincha, mayurasana, the forearm balance. The wrist is in back. We're gonna work on the forearms. So again, grab your strap. This might be a nicer one to use a yoga strap with because it is more definitive. It's gonna give you a super solid foundation. Now, everyone is a little bit different. Again, how we're built, our anatomy, preference. I like to start with my hands shoulder width apart on the forearms. Sometimes I'll bring my hands to touch. But I find, and like I said, everyone's different. You're gonna find either this one or this one easier. There's no rhyme or reason why. This is what it is. I like to start with this one because it still allows me to use my fingers and grip the floor. So what happens when we go up a lot of the time, and this is in our headstands, this is in forearm balance for sure, is that the elbows, if I didn't have this strap on, the elbows start to migrate open, which is okay. We start here at 90-90. If the hands come in a little, that also kind of helps. You can take your elbows a little wider and your hands a little bit closer together. You just don't want to let the elbows migrate to like 180 because then you're going to be super unstable. If the base is more triangular, it's going to be easier for you to balance. So just like baby bear, not too much, not too little, find what works for you. So not too much, the elbows not too much wider outside of the shoulders. We're good, it's just good. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Keep the knees soft and press your chest open. For 3, for 2, press out of the forearms, out of the shoulders. And drop your knees down. Keep your toes tucked and come back. Sitting on your feet, we're just gonna take a second for 3, for 2. Okay, I want you guys to just watch this difference in my dolphin plank here because it's gonna make all the difference when you're setting yourself up for your pincha. So, we love to use our dolphins to get our chest open. But sometimes when we're just focusing on getting the chest open, we let the shoulder blades slide together. And I'm like arcing my spine. You can see that if I was to be upright, I'd be like this, which is what we want to avoid when we're moving into our forearm balance or handstands. Pubic bone to belly button, upper rib in, nice, collected, solid core. So let's take our hands over our head here, make prayer hands. Bring your biceps by your ears, and then practice it. You're gonna lift your hips off your heels 1 inch, pubic bone to belly button, upper ribs in, press your elbows back. Hand presses into hand for 5, run towards it. 4, 3, 2, nice. Drop your hips, drop your hands, release. So notice the difference between this and this. I'm still open. I'm still opening up my shoulders, opening up the chest without letting those upper ribs flare. It's kind of like in and then up is the feeling. Come down to your knees. Nice. So I always prefer to have a wall behind me. Something else that's really nice is to take your band and your block. Thank you. Just a 2-woman show over here.
And a sparkle.
And a sparkle. And a Lucas who's somewhere. Not on island right now, but in the world. Okay, so from here, let's find that foundation. You're gonna grab a block and make like the L's around the corners. Your hands can squeeze in, your elbows can press into the band slightly. You're going to lift your eyes to look forward at that block or at your thumbs. If that's too much of a neck crank for you, you don't want to look underneath yourself. You can look a little more forward than just straight down. Let's take one leg up to the sky. Now, something that we all do to get the leg higher is open up the top hip. We do it in our three-legged dog, we do it in our airplanes. There's a lot of places where we innocently open up that right hip. Time and place for everything. This is not the time or the place. So, you want to keep your hips square, and the reason why is because when the hips are open, if you kick up, you can do it, but you're gonna have to do all this extra work to go open hip to close hip. So you want to just like make it easier for yourself by starting with the closed hip. Internal rotation, reaching through the heel or through the toes. Press up and out of the forearms. Press your chest back and open as much as you can. If you're here, not gonna work. Okay? You want to have your biceps as close to your ears as you can. Chest stays open, so don't let the shoulders lean forward. You really want to keep it as open as possible. So set the bottom half, right leg up, and then knee to chest. So this is why I like using the wall, because you have something behind you, you'll be less scared to fall over. You're gonna hug that left knee into your nip. So the reason why we hug, I'll show you. It's an anatomical term, y'all. Left knee to nip. So the reason why we do that is because, I think we've worked on this in class too. I think we've practiced this in our handstands. Hips back, heart forward. Hips back, heart forward. So when the knee is into the chest, look. When the knee is into the chest, my tailbone is naturally curling under, right? And I can get this really nice low belly hollow. The reason why we hug the knee into the chest and keep that tailbone under is because it prevents us, knee to chest will always bring us back to where we started. For example, one leg up, knee to nip. You see, hips back, heart forward, knee to nip. This ensures that I always fall back to where I started, because this weight is gonna draw me back. Sorry, were you guys able to hear that? Oh. So if you know that you have the mobility to fall forward and you have the shoulders open, that's okay, and it's a nice exit strategy. If you are scared, if you are too tight to fall into that, please make sure you use a wall. But you see, when the knee is in, I'm always falling back to where I started. Once the knee leaves the chest, you have the ability to go over, just from that articulation of your tailbone.